There are a number of best practices for state charts. First and foremost, if your system has a stateful behavior, then you should be using state charts and not flowcharts. In my experience, it's very common for embedded systems to have mostly stateful behavior. You press a button or some input comes and the system changes its behavior until the next input comes. That just screams state chart, not flowchart. State charts have an advantage that they map to an easier to test and easier to review switch statement, which is generally a lot easier to understand and get right than a bunch of nested ifs that you can get from a flowchart. I recommend that you avoid putting actions on arcs to simplify the code. Yes, there are state machines that have actions on arcs, but what we found is they lead to increased bugs in the code and in the design. You should also keep your code complexity under control. For example, by moving complex behaviors inside a state out to a subroutine helper function so that cyclomatic complexity primarily comes from the switch statement and not from a bunch of spaghetti code buried into the individual cases. There are some pitfalls for state charts. If the code really is a bunch of logic functions based on what's going on right now instead of trying to recreate history with if statements, then you might be better off with a flowchart. Some computations are step 1, step 2, step 3. That's what flowcharts are about. But if you see a flowchart going out, querying variables to figure out, okay, where are we again? That should be a state chart. Don't let your state charts get too complex. Once you have so many states they won't fit on a single sheet of letter paper, you might need to break the state chart up into pieces or otherwise decompose the complexity just so you can understand it. If you look up tutorials on state charts that go at greater length, you'll find out that they have nested state charts, they have parallel state machines. There's quite a rich set of notation that will let you break big state charts into little state charts that are easy to understand and, more importantly, easy to get right.